The first step in repairing any of this flaking paint is your consolidation, because then all the other processes can happen. I'm Colin. I'm about to show you what I'm going to do on this 1914 Crane Simplex hood. We're going to talk about consolidation of paint, which is readhering flaking or lifting paint back down to the substrate. I think consolidating paint is very important. Without some process being done to it now, there's no reason that all of the paint won't flake off eventually. If we lose all of the paint, then we won't have a good description of what this was originally. So in consolidating, I have to stick all the paint back down before we could clean or do any varnish removal or overpaint removal. We need to re-adhere these lifting edges so they won't continue to pop off. I'll be using different resins and some small needles, injecting resin under the lifted areas, physically pressing them back down. In larger areas where I have more space to move, I'm gonna actually use a vacuum pump setup so I can suck the resin under the paint and it will then glue right back down to the surface. In this case, I decided to take the hood off because in order to reach over the fenders and work on it, the fenders have their own cases of flaking paint. I'd be doing more harm to the vehicle trying to work on the hood in place. So typically to consolidate just what you see here on this side of the hood, it could take anywhere between 15 to 20 hours. It's a very tedious process, but I'm gonna show you how to do some. So first I'm gonna fill my hypodermic needles with the resins I need. One will have ethanol in it, and the ethanol will act as an agent to draw my consolidant underneath. The consolidant I'm using is a reversible copolymer resin. It is also thermoplastic. And now I'll put some consolidant in the other syringe. So I'm gonna do one little bit by hand. I'll hit it with a drop of ethanol and a drop of consolidant, and it will flow in. Then I will remove a little bit of excess. This is called silicone release mylar. Almost nothing will stick to it. Rub it flat. Now I'm working that consolidant into those cracks, and at the same time I'm pressing the paint down gently, and the capillary action will draw that glue into all of those cracks. So then I'll remove excess glue just around the spot. A little more pressure, and that spot's done. So now this spot is completely down, there's no more lifted areas, and it doesn't want to chip off. As we are trying to formulate ways to do this faster, we have created a vacuum pump with a flexible seal around the vacuum. I'll be able to inject the resin and cover a larger area, and it will penetrate deeper into the finer cracks. So I'll turn my pump on and start building pressure. Now I'm gonna apply ethanol to these areas and then the glue. I'll work it in and take excess off before I apply the pump. That resin is being drawn in underneath the paint, and we let that sit on here for a couple minutes. So this is ready to come off. So now I'll release the vacuum and then I'll re-clean the excess consolidant on top. The consolidant is aqueous, so I was able to just use a little bit of water to remove the excess. So this is one or two approaches of how we glue paint back down. The first step in repairing any of this flaking paint is your consolidation, because then all the other processes can happen. Even if we go no further, this can now go back into a non-climate controlled area, and the paint doesn't want to fall off.